Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of your sources and we try to kind of like boil them down to their pure essence, like what's the insight here. And today we are diving into, this is a fun one, selections from Epictetus's Enchiridion. Which
it's a good one.
It's a good one, right? So this is essentially if you had to give someone a field manual. For like how to live a better life.
Yes.
According to the Stoics, like this is it. This is the book.
It's like your friend that you go to for advice, who seems to always have it all together. They've got that calming perspective,
right?
Except this friend lived in ancient Greece,
right?
And has been offering this guidance for centuries.
And continues to, and he's shockingly relevant.
Yes.
To this day.
Very much so.
Which I always find kind of amazing. And this isn't some sort of like vague, self-help, feel-good stuff. He gets, right out of the gate.
Straight to it.
He's very direct.
Yeah,
Here's the deal. You've got to figure out what's in your control. And what is just going to make you crazy.
It's going to make you nuts,
Trying to control.
So he breaks it down right at the start.
Yeah.
He says, our opinions, our aims, our desires, those are ours. Those are the things that those are up to us, right?
Okay.
But our bodies, our possessions, other people's opinions.
Other people,
those are external.
Okay.
Those are outside of our kind of direct influence.
So I'm picturing like two columns.
Okay.
And one is stuff I can control.
Okay.
And the other one is like stuff that will just stress me out if I think about it too much.
Yeah.
And like, is the goal to live mostly over here?
It's more about where you're putting your energy.
Okay.
He's not saying be indifferent
right.
to these external things, right?
Yeah.
But you shouldn't base your happiness on them.
Right.
Imagine like pinning your entire mood on whether someone likes your outfit today.
Yeah.
You're giving them way too much power.
Way too much power. That makes me think about that whole idea from Stoicism about being a slave to your passions.
Yes.
It's like if I'm constantly chasing approval from other people or material things or any of that, it's almost like I'm letting those desires dictate my life.
You're letting them call the shots.
Yeah.
And that ties directly to what he was saying about freedom.
Okay.
True freedom, in his view, comes from mastering your inner world.
Your inner world.
Not from trying to bend the external world to your will.
Okay.
Like it's not about, amassing a bunch of stuff or becoming super famous or having everyone like you. It's about...
It's like that unshakable inner peace.
Yes.
No matter what your life looks like externally.
That's it.
You've still got that.
And to get to that peace, you've got to manage those desires. Okay. Especially for things you can't control.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't sugarcoat it either.
No, he doesn't.
He's like, you are going to be, she uses the word disappointment a lot.
Disappointment, okay.
And even worse, if you're constantly chasing after these desires for things you can't control.
So it's like he's saying, listen, if your happiness hinges on winning the lottery, you're going to have a bad time.
Yes, exactly.
Well, statistically speaking,
yeah.
There's a better way.
And that better way, according to him, involves discretion and gentleness and moderation in how we approach our desires.
Okay, so not like complete, suppression.
Right. It's not about, becoming, again, a robot.
Right.
It's about finding that contentment. In what you have right now, instead of constantly feeling like something's missing.
It makes me think about that thing he says.
Yes.
About our lives being like a voyage.
Yes, the ship analogy.
The ship analogy.
So good,
So good.
It's so powerful, it really is.
So unpack that for us.
Okay, so we're all on this journey, right? And we might pick up some treasures along the way.
Okay.
Right? A successful career, maybe a loving family.
Yeah.
But those are like things that we pick up at a port. We enjoy them while we can, but we have to be ready to let go when it's time to sail again.
When it's time to set sail again, and it's not.
And it's not.
Just material things.
No, he even compares like loved ones to those treasures that you find on the voyage.
Because it's not up to us how long they're going to be there.
Right.
They're essential.
Yeah.
But they're temporary. It really makes you think about
it does
how much we cling to things. And how much suffering we create by not
accepting that impermanence.
It's
a big one.
It's a big one.
Yeah.
And speaking of things we can't control.
Oh, yes.
Epictetus had kind of a surprisingly chill
he did.
perspective on death.
He did, very much so.
Like, it was just very matter of fact.
He's like, yeah, it's going to happen, so.
It's going to happen, so.
Don't waste your precious time fearing it.
Yeah. He even uses Socrates as, like,
the ultimate example.
The ultimate example of this, like, remaining calm and composed, even, you know.
Yes.
A little sassy.
Yeah, he was a little sassy.
As he's, like, facing his own execution.
She was like, all right, let's do this thing.
It's like, what's the big deal?
It's not death itself that's scary, he argues.
Right.
It's our perception of it.
Our perception of it.
Our fear and our resistance to something that is totally natural.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all kind of ties together.
Yes.
It's like, if we can control our reactions to the things that, you know, we can control, our thoughts, our desires, our interpretations of things, then even something as, you know,
as daunting as death.
As seemingly daunting as death. Can't rob us of that inner peace.
Exactly.
It's like, we can't control when we die, but we can control how we feel about it.
Yes.
And how we, you know, approach that.
And that's huge in Stoicism.
Yeah.
That idea of controlling our interpretations.
Okay.
He hammers this home.
Yeah.
That it's not events themselves that disturb us.
Okay.
It's our judgments about them.
Our judgments about them. Okay.
So to use a modern example.
Okay.
Someone putting you off in traffic.
Right.
Doesn't ruin your day unless you let it.
Unless you let it, right?
It's like he's saying, hey, they honked their horn.
Right.
That happened.
But
you deciding to get angry and yell back, that's on you.
That's on you, yeah.
It puts a different spin on things.
It puts a different spin on things.
It really does.
Yeah.
It does.
Interesting. Yeah. So that leads to this concept he talks about, the dichotomy of control.
Yes, yes.
So it's like this constant sorting of what you can influence and what you can't.
All the time. It's like a
mental habit.
It is a mental habit to cultivate.
It's like like a filter you're running things through.
Yes, exactly.
Is this within my power to change, or am I better off just, you know?
Yes. Or should I just like
letting this one go,
let it go,
and focusing my energy elsewhere?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like having two buckets.
Okay.
One is labeled things I can actually do something about.
Okay.
The other one is labeled stuff that's going to happen no matter what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
And it's like, you're just constantly going back and forth.
Right. Right. And the goal is to spend most of your time dealing with that first bucket.
Right. Because otherwise you're just creating suffering for yourself.
Exactly.
It's like that example you just used.
Yeah.
Getting upset about being cut off in traffic.
Yes.
That's putting energy into the wrong bucket. Like you can't control that happened.
Right.
What if instead you focused on like how you could drive more defensively, you know?
Yes, or use that moment to practice patience.
Or, there you go, exactly.
Right, that's the Stoic approach in action.
Okay, and that actually makes me think about another idea that he emphasizes, which is not just like knowing this stuff. Yeah. But actually living it.
Living it, yeah.
Even when no one's watching.
Especially when no one's watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He's like, he uses this kind of amusing example of sheep.
Yes.
And he's like, they don't go around bragging about how much grass they eat.
No, they don't.
They're just out there, like, eating the grass.
Living their best lives.
Digesting it quietly and then, you know, producing wool and milk.
Milk, yeah. I love that image. It's so funny.
Such a funny image.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, don't be out there, like, peacocking about being a Stoic. Oh, yeah. Just, like, quietly embody it.
Quietly embody it.
That's it.
Yeah, it's like
inner work.
That inner work, that constant striving.
Yeah.
To align your actions with your values.
Yeah, and that striving is key. He really emphasizes that, you know, we may not all be like philosophical giants, you know, like Socrates. Right. But we should act as if we're working towards that level of wisdom.
Okay.
And virtue.
So it's about like a constant self-improvement.
Yes.
But guided by reason, not ego.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
Right. It's not about, look at me, I'm so wise now.
No.
It's more about...
It's a process.
It's a process, yeah.
Of becoming. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny you mentioned Socrates.
Yeah.
Epictetus actually encourages us to use figures like that as kind of role models.
Okay.
Especially when we're facing tough situations.
So it's like that what would Socrates do?
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
Right. Instead of like panicking, you channel your inner philosopher.
Yeah, like, hold on, gotta call up Socrates real quick.
Exactly.
He's got some advice for me about how to handle this parking ticket.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
There's something really powerful in that, right?
Yeah.
Drawing on the strength of those who have walked the path before us.
Right.
But, he wasn't all about like lofty ideals and ancient philosophers,
Right.
He also had a lot to say about like how we handle just the nitty gritty of everyday life.
Yeah.
Like how do we deal with
those people?
Those people, yeah. Give me
who just rub us the wrong way.
Tactical advice here.
Right.
What's the game plan for that?
So, I mean, first of all, he reminds us that, those folks are operating from their own perception of reality.
Their own often flawed judgments.
Their own often flawed judgments.
Yes.
And he even suggests that instead of getting angry, we should pity them.
Pity them. Okay.
It
seems a little extreme.
A little extreme.
But his thinking there was that to him, acting badly, causing harm, stemmed from ignorance.
Okay.
And ignorance was a far greater tragedy than any harm they could inflict on you.
Okay.
Right.
So it's like that person who's like yelling at the barista.
Yes.
They're probably deeply unhappy.
Deeply unhappy, deeply unwell.
They've just like never learned how to regulate their emotions or whatever.
They've never learned how to find peace within themselves. And so it's more sad.
It's sad.
Than anything.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's a very different way of looking at things.
It is a very different way. And I like that it doesn't
It doesn't excuse their behavior.
Right.
But it might make it easier to let go of the anger and resentment.
Right. So it's less about don't feed the trolls and more about maybe toss them a philosophical bone or something.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Like meet them with compassion.
Yeah.
Which is not easy.
It's not easy.
But that's the thing about Stoicism. It's like it's a practice. It's not, you don't just read Enchiridion and then suddenly become this perfectly wise and detached sage,
We're all works in progress.
And he recognized that, that we're going to make mistakes.
We're going to fall short.
We're going to fall short of our ideals.
Even Epictetus, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like he had days where he was probably just like...
He probably, chucked his cup across the room a few times, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally.
But instead of, beating ourselves up, he encourages us to approach those moments with self-compassion.
That's compassioning.
To see them as opportunities for learning and growth.
So less, I'm such an idiot for messing that up. And more, okay, what can I learn from this?
Yes, exactly.
How can I do better next time?
How can I grow from this? It's about turning those inner critics into inner coaches.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
Right, because, he uses this analogy of an athlete training for the Olympics.
Okay.
It's a continuous process of discipline and effort, setbacks, getting back up again.
So it's like life is more like a marathon than a sprint. You're gonna get blisters. You might you
might hit a wall.
Hit the wall.
Yeah.
But it's about just
keep going.
Keep putting one foot in front of the other.
That's it.
And those blisters.
And those blisters can even teach us something, right? They can make us stronger, more resilient.
Right. More prepared for the next challenge.
Exactly. It's all part of the journey.
Okay. So we've talked about handling difficult people.
Right.
We've talked about being kinder to ourselves.
Yes.
But there's this whole other area of life.
Yes.
Where
or Stoicism
sometimes gets a raised eyebrow.
It does.
Which is relationships.
Relationships, yes. Matters of the heart.
Right.
You wouldn't think that a philosophy known for self-control and emotional detachment would have a lot to say about love. But Epictetus actually offered some very specific advice on how to navigate.
All right, so what's the Stoic take on love and romance?
All right, so if you're looking for a recipe for passionate whirlwind romance, you might be a little surprised. Epictetus was all about approaching relationships with, and this might sound counterintuitive, a healthy dose of detachment.
Detachment.
I know.
That doesn't sound very romantic.
I know, right?
Like, it seems like the opposite of what...
Right. Isn't that like...
all love songs are about?
Yes. Yeah. But remember, it all comes back to that dichotomy of control.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
We can control our actions, our own emotions to an extent.
Yeah.
But we can't control other people, their feelings, how they choose to behave.
We've all been in those situations where you're like,
yes,
I need you to feel this way.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you're not doing it.
And according to Epictetus, like...
clinging to those desires, to those expectations of how a relationship should be.
Okay.
That's a recipe for disappointment.
Okay.
Maybe even heartache.
So what's the solution?
Right.
Do we all just, like...
or are we all just...
swear off love?
Yeah, become
Stoic monks on a mountaintop somewhere.
Right, exactly. Not necessarily.
Okay.
Epictetus wasn't opposed to relationships.
Okay.
He actually saw them as a very natural part of life.
Okay.
But he believed we should enter them with our eyes wide open.
Okay.
With a clear understanding of their...
impermanence.
Impermanence, there's that word again.
It's like the ship analogy.
It is. It's like those treasures that you pick up along the way.
Right. Okay. So enjoy it, but don't get too attached.
Yes.
Right.
Don't pin your entire happiness.
Don't pin your entire happiness on it.
On someone else's choices, on someone else's behavior.
Okay, that's good. That's good advice.
And that applies to all relationships, by the way. Okay.
Not just romantic ones.
Right.
Friends, family, colleagues. I mean... It's all
subject
to change.
It's all subject to that, yeah.
It's like that saying, this too shall pass. Good times, the bad times.
The good times, the bad times. It's all temporary.
It's all temporary.
In the grand scheme of things.
And I like that, like by...
and by accepting that...
accepting that impermanence.
Yes.
You can actually then like...
appreciate it.
Yes. More.
Yes.
Because you're not
clinging so tightly.
You're not clinging. You're not,
that you suffocate the joy out of it.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Right.
Appreciate the good, accept the bad, and
don't freak out.
Don't freak out when things inevitably change.
Because they will.
They will.
Yeah, this has been helpful.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Okay. Between experiencing the full spectrum of human emotion.
Yeah, right.
Joy, sadness, love, loss. All of it.
All of it.
But also cultivating that
inner,
inner resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
That place of peace within ourselves that can't be shaken.
Right.
By these external circumstances.
It's like building a strong foundation.
Yes.
So that even if the winds of change blow, your house doesn't crumble.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's what this is all about.
Right.
Right.
It's that
building that inner strength, that resilience that allows us to navigate all of this.
The ups and downs.
The ups and downs of life with grace and wisdom and a sense of inner peace.
Which, when you really think about it, is kind of a superpower.
It is a superpower.
Yeah.
And it's a superpower that's available to all of us.
Right.
Right? It's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about
the striving.
The striving, the learning, the growing.
Right.
Becoming the best versions of ourselves. So less about like seeking external validation.
Yes.
And more about cultivating that inner badassery.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
And speaking of cultivating inner strength.
Yeah.
Epictetus had a lot to say about kind of the power of our own minds, the importance of like really training our thoughts to see things clearly, to not be swayed by every like passing whim or emotion.
Yeah, we have more control over that.
We have way more control.
First time we realized.
We realized. He believed that.
Okay.
Very strongly.
So how do we do that?
Right.
How do we become like masters of our own mind?
Yeah. Right, because let's face it, our thoughts can be
pretty chaotic.
They can be a mess. So one of the key tools that he offers is this practice of what he called the 3 disciplines.
The 3 disciplines. So,
okay, so think of these as like mental workouts for building inner strength and resilience.
All right, give them to me. What are they?
Okay, so the 3 disciplines, they're like this.
Okay.
First, you've got the discipline of desire.
Okay.
And again, this isn't about becoming like some emotionless robot.
Right.
But it is about recognizing that attaching your happiness to things outside your control is a recipe for misery, right?
So less.
It's less.
I'll be happy when.
Yes.
And more, I can just choose to be content.
Yes.
In this moment.
Right now.
With what I have.
Exactly.
Yeah, which Let's be honest.
Which is tough.
That's a pretty
countercultural message.
It is. It's very countercultural.
Yeah,
we're constantly bombarded with messages of
instant gratification.
Instant gratification. Yeah, treat yourself.
Yeah, treat yourself.
But that's what makes it so powerful, right?
Yeah.
It's about finding that true contentment that doesn't depend on the
external circumstances.
Yeah, okay.
So that's one discipline down.
Right, that's one. What about number 2?
Number 2 is the discipline of action.
Of action.
Okay. This one is about walking the walk.
Okay.
Not just talking the talk.
Okay.
It's about aligning your actions with your values.
Okay.
Even when no one is looking.
So no more like saying one thing and doing another.
Yes, exactly. No more like preaching about kindness while secretly gossiping about your friends.
Right, exactly. It's about
actually embodying
it.
Those virtues, yeah.
Yeah.
Honesty, courage, justice, compassion.
Right.
Bringing those into every aspect of our lives.
Yeah, even the small stuff.
Especially the small stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's those small choices.
Those add up.
They add up. They become habits. They shape our character.
Like you are
the
sum total of all those micro decisions that you make.
Exactly. Exactly. And that
leads us to the third discipline.
Okay, the third one. Yeah.
Which is the discipline of assent.
Of assent. Okay.
This one's a little trickier.
Okay.
This is about our judgments, our beliefs, the stories that we tell ourselves about the world.
Right.
Remember we were talking about how it's not events themselves that disturb us, it's our opinions about them.
It's our opinions about them, right? That whole getting cut off in traffic thing.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not the event itself.
Right.
It's your reaction to it.
It's how you choose to,
And the discipline of assent is about learning to observe those thoughts without immediately believing them.
Right.
To question our assumptions.
Right.
And to choose more empowering interpretations.
It's that thing everyone says, which is
very true, which is believe everything you think.
Yes.
You know?
Exactly.
It's like we have more power than that.
We have the power to choose which thoughts we want to entertain.
Right, exactly.
Which ones we're just gonna
you can keep going.
You can just float on by.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's about cultivating that mental spaciousness.
Okay.
That ability to kind of step back from our thoughts, observe them without getting completely swept away from them.
Right. And from that place, you can start to make those choices.
Exactly. We can start to choose thought.
Right. Which is more aligned with that
are more aligned with reality, with our values, with our own well-being.
Right. Yeah. So it's we've got
practice.
It is a practice. Yeah. But it's we've got.
But it's a practice.
Our Stoic workout routine.
Yes.
Right.
Oh.
It's manage our desires.
Yes.
Align our actions with our values.
Yes.
Choose our thoughts carefully. There you go.
Sounds like a
recipe for
There's a recipe for a more fulfilling
life. Yeah. And it's a recipe that's available to all of us.
Right. Regardless of your background or your beliefs
I mean, that's one of the things I find so inspiring about Epictetus.
Yeah.
He wasn't some ivory tower philosopher.
Right.
He was a former slave.
Right, who understood hardship.
And struggle on a very personal level.
Yeah.
And yet he still believed so strongly in the power of our own minds to find that freedom and peace no matter what.
No matter what, yeah. It's very empowering.
It is. It's like he's saying, hey, I've been there.
Yeah.
I know life can be tough, but
you got this.
You got this. Yeah. You have the power to choose how you respond.
That's good. And I think that's why it's resonate with so many people.
Across cultures for so long.
Throughout history.
Because it's that message of empowerment, right?
It's a message of empowerment.
It's a message of hope.
Of hope.
And it's that,
and of the
human spirit's capacity for resilience and growth.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, so if we had to boil it all down, right? What's the one central idea from Epictetus?
Yeah, I think it would be this true freedom, true happiness comes not from chasing after all that external stuff.
Right.
Not from the validation, not from the possessions.
Not material possessions.
Yeah, from mastering our own minds.
Mastering our own minds, Okay. Yeah. It's about
So it's an inside game.
It's an inside game. It's about cultivating that virtue.
Okay.
That wisdom. Yeah. Living in accordance with nature and reason.
And we don't have to be. Like,
and we don't have to be
Stoic sages
to do this.
To benefit from this, yeah.
We can just make small changes.
Right. In our daily lives.
Little tweaks.
Just little tweaks.
Yeah.
You know, paying attention to those thoughts, choosing our reactions more consciously.
Yeah.
Focusing on what we can control.
There you go.
It all makes a difference.
It all adds up.
It does. It all adds up.
Love it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about taking those principles, those ancient principles,
yeah,
and weaving them into the fabric of our
everyday life.
Everyday, messy, modern life.
Yeah, it's a lifelong journey.
It is.
But it's a journey worth taking.
It is a journey worth taking, according to Epictetus.
Well said.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive
into the wisdom of Epictetus.
Yes.
All right, so until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
Keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep into all of these ideas that matter.
That matter.